We are here for another edition of the Massena Raiders Coaches Show. I've got Taylor Zappia, varsity football coach for your Massena Raiders, standing next to me. I'm Elijah Winfrey, and Coach, how are you doing?
Good, feeling great. Thanks for coming down again.
I am very excited to be down here, Coach. You know, you got 4 weeks in the tank already. You got a 4-0 record. I don't know how you can ask for much more than that, but I know you're going to, right?
Yeah, sure. No, these guys are they're battling hard every practice, and they know, like we said last week and the week before, it's 0-0 with 1 to go. So we try not to think about that record too much, because really it's kind of what have you done for me lately type attitude, and these guys are definitely buying into that. So,
Coach Zappia, obviously for your fan base, I feel like most of us, we get it. It's 0-0, 1 to go. But there are some of us out there who are already looking ahead to that Governor matchup, which should be like forever until then, right?
Sure. No, we're not thinking about anything but the Larrys right now. So we take it, the coaching staff and the guys, we take it a week at a time, like this game's supposed to be, and we'll let everyone else deal with the rest of the schedule. But no, we play the Larrys on Friday night, so that's the only focus we have right now.
Coach, you know, this is an interesting game. I have affectionately called it the Downtown Showdown since I moved up here and started doing games actually for them on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's interesting because this rivalry has so many connections in it. I'll just give you one example. Obviously, their head coach is a Massena alum.
Yeah.
Their cheerleading coach is a Massena alum. And their quarterback, Dawson Shatraw, played Massena youth football before becoming the quarterback over there at St. Lawrence Central. You guys are only separated by about 12 miles.
Yeah.
This is a special one, right?
Yeah, definitely. I know there's a lot of connections between Massena and Brazier, and a lot of friends and a lot of rivalries are developed because we're so close, and we play each other in every sport, I believe. So no, it's always fun going there, and they pack the house on Friday night when they play Massena, and when they come here, we try to pack the house too. So no, I know there's some awesome connections, and I know this year we got Michael Martinez, who's been playing awesome the past couple of games. He played for Brazier last year, I believe, and the year before. So I know this game is extra special to him. And yeah, it's definitely fun playing them every year.
Now, obviously, they have not had as much success in the win column. I know they're looking for their first win. Obviously, that would be at your expense, so you're going to do everything you can to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yep.
But what are you telling the boys as far as what you see from St. Lawrence Central? Because I feel like it's not an effort issue, right?
Definitely not. No, it's definitely not an effort issue by any means. I've coached long enough now where I've had teams in all sorts of different situations, and I know they're going to be pumped up to play. There's no doubt in my mind. We're just going to have to match their energy. Come out quick. Try not to start slow, kind of like we did. Not to go into last week, but we started a little bit slow, and we can't be doing that on Friday night because I know they're going to be ready to go. They're going to be they're going to be hungry for Massena, and we gotta, as a coaching staff, get these guys hungry to go on Friday, and I know they will be. So.
And I have heard through the grapevine that this might be the last Downtown Showdown, which kind of stinks. It actually does stink, if you're asking me personally. But this is the 55th time you guys are doing battle up there in Brazier Falls. I've never been up there. Have you seen a game up there?
Yeah, we played I guess every other year, but we've played on their turf before. Yeah,
That's
so it's new turf. Maybe 3 years ago.
I think so, yeah.
I know we have definitely played a game there on their turf, but no, the atmosphere is great. They get a great showing. That community, shows up, especially when they play Massena. So I know we're going to have a lot of red in the stands too. So it's going to be exciting, definitely.
Now, Coach, one thing that I was talking about on the radio is that your team just seems to have this ability that while you might create some self-adversity, at some point you say, we're done playing with you, and you just put teams away.
Sure.
How do you get that in your team?
Yeah, these guys, I've been stressing it kind of all week. It's a team sport, obviously, but I've been stressing individual accountability. And that's kind of what these guys kind of prove to themselves. We started slow against Malone. There's no question about it. And these guys individually said, not today kind of deal. It's not going to happen. I'm going to be the guy that makes that play. I'm going to be the guy that does my job. I'm not going to pout because things aren't going my way. And like I said, I've coached for long enough now, and I've been a part of football teams where there's a certain DNA on football teams. On some football teams where if things aren't going right, it kind of the switch goes off.
Yeah.
And I know this team doesn't have that. We haven't faced too much adversity. but that could be because they have such great effort and attitude towards the game. But when adversity hits, I know these guys aren't going to switch it off. So, that's something that you can't really coach either as a team. That's kind of coming from the leaders and coming from within the group. So.
And, I've heard through the grapevine that, great teams are teams where the coaches are not the main motivators, that the kids actually are, kind of taking that message as their own. How rewarding is that for you and your staff to see the kids take that personal accountability, especially at high school level football?
Yeah, I mean, it's awesome to see, right? So, I know the first couple of practices, obviously you have to get them in the flow of things and kind of establish who the leaders are, but this year was super special. And, the fact that after a couple of practices, like we were hands off with warm-ups, hands off with individual drills. These guys were already leading from the front, I guess you'd say. So yeah, it's awesome as a coaching staff to not be the one that has to bring the energy to practice every day. Mm-hmm. It's nice not only to have all these assistant coaches, but to have your Garrett Weirs, your Carter Kings, your Lindsteds, Eastwoods. I could continue Coatsy. These guys bringing the energy and having fun playing the game, because that's what we're here for at the end of the day.
Now, Coach, before we get going here, I do want to ask you, last week we asked you to spotlight a player that maybe is not getting a ton of stats, and then that kid ended up getting a bunch of stats. Because Jake Lindsted's got 3 sacks now, which is nice to see. So as far as the rest of the kids are concerned, is there anybody else that you think we might want to speak into a bunch of stats this weekend?
Yeah, I like, I was thinking Owen Cyrus. He's our center, junior. So, he's stepped up, playing big boy ball this year. Jumping in there at center. As a lot of people know, we don't go under center too much, so we're kind of relying on him to not only make his blocks and know what he's doing, but to get that snap back to Eastwood, because we can't do much without him. But he's a very smart football mind. He's a great kid. He gets fired up, and he's a pleasure to have on the team, and I'm super excited that we get to have him another year after this. So.
JV modified. Obviously, you've been coaching now for 11 years. It's your second year as a head coach of the varsity team. What are you doing to help invigorate that modified and JV squad? Like, how much contact do you actually have with those kids to say, "Hey, get ready, because you need to help carry this torch into the future," right?
Yeah, a lot of off-season stuff. Like, they're obviously invited to all of our weight room and turf stuff in the summer. I try to get as many guys as I can there, and as many coaches as we can there. During the season, kind of we have our own kind of deals going on, but definitely in the off season, I remember, I'm old enough now where kids have graduated. I'm trying to think of a modified kid that I saw kind of develop in the weight room, but now that I'm thinking of him, he graduated. That's how long I've been coaching. But no, I see these modified kids come in the weight room as these small kind of not mature players yet. Right. And as they develop, and it's like, keep going, keep pushing, and sure enough, you see them get stronger, get faster, get smarter towards the game, and they turn into like awesome. It's always the kids that you see, you're like, who's that guy? He's a 7th grader. Then all of a sudden, oh, remember him as a 7th grader? He's now a senior captain or whatever it may be. But so I would say definitely more in the off season that I'm physically kind of with the younger groups. But I know I see the JV guys all the time. We're in the same locker room pretty much, but see the JV coaches and the JV kids, and we're working very similar schemes. So it's always nice to kind of jump down there as much as I possibly can and talk to those kids and let them know we're watching.
All right. Well, Coach, last question for you. Obviously you got Massena Raider Nation. They're excited. You got a 4-0 football team. Yep. I feel like that in itself should be a reason to show up on Friday night at 6 o'clock in Brazier Falls. But if you had to say something directly to the fans, what would you say?
No, definitely. It's going to be a tough battle. It's going to be tough. The Raiders here are prepared for a very tough battle every time we play St. Lawrence. It's very tough. So yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a fun game to watch, and going to see some hopefully some good things from the Raiders.
Joining me via the phone line is St. Lawrence Central varsity football coach, Mr. Bruce Truax. Good morning, Coach Truax. How's it going?
Good morning. Good, thank you.
And you and I are recording this earlier on in the week. When people hear this at the game, hey, you know what? Bruce is a very busy man, so we wanted to make sure that we could get this conversation in. Coach Truax, I just want to start off by saying a heartfelt thank you from my family to yours. It's interesting because I started my broadcasting career there at St. Lawrence Central, doing YouTube broadcasts, and then I ended up working with your brother and getting trained by Todd here at the radio station. So I owe a lot to your family, and I just want to say thank you so much for kind of helping me find my way in sports broadcasting, my friend.
Yes, well, thank you also for all you do.
Obviously, this is a big game coming up. I call it the Downtown Showdown. It's the 55th edition, and first, I just want to address this. You're the St. Lawrence Central coach, but you are a Massena alum, right?
Yes, I am.
So tell me a little bit about how much this game means to you every year when it comes around.
Well, it goes back, 55 years. It goes back quite a ways. When I played in Massena against St. Lawrence, it was always a big deal because we're so close. The schools are so close, especially now with social media. The kids know each other very, very well, so that makes a big difference when they're playing against each other. One thing I've always learned when I was playing, especially, that even though St. Lawrence was a small school, they could play football and they could hit. And it just seems like they're just a tough bunch of kids. I know the last few years has been rough for us, but we're very young. The numbers haven't been where I'd like them to be, but every week we're excited. Every week we hope that we play to our potential. The last couple of weeks has been tough because we've been dealing with illness, but the kids are very excited. It's a big game for them. They look forward to it every year.
Now, Bruce, I don't want to hone in on any one particular player because obviously it takes a team to do it, but this is just too interesting of a story not to talk about. Your quarterback, Dawson Shatraw, he actually was a water boy for me whenever I was coaching the Venom in Massena a few years back, but I found it interesting because I remember him playing youth football for Massena, and now he's the starting quarterback at St. Lawrence Central. Kind of goes to what you were talking about earlier, just how close these two schools are.
Yes. Dawson just this year approached me, and he asked if he could try for quarterback. And, I didn't have one at the time. Didn't know who I was going to go to, but he came to me, and he said, Coach, I'd like to give it a shot. And he's done a nice job. He's still learning. He's still in the process. He's an excellent athlete. He's got all the skills. He could run. He could throw. Makes people miss. So every game when he has the ball in his hand, I keep hoping there's going to be a time when he's just going to break it and show what he's really capable of.
Now, as far as your team is concerned, Bruce, I remember you guys running the wing tee. Do you still run the wing tee, or is it different now?
A little bit of both. Double wing tee. Like I said before, we're not fancy. We can't be. We're going to go right at you, roll the dice kind of thing. We have a nice size line. They're starting to get it. They're starting to get. The backs are starting to get it. It's a process. I'm very excited for them, though. The offense has been doing fairly well, even though the scores haven't been the way I'd like them to be. But for the most part, the offense is moving. Right now, we got to work on that defense. Defense is what wins ball games.
Now, Bruce, before we let you go, just in general, your team, you kind of talked about it just now, but are there some other players that we should really be, paying attention to in this game, you think?
Devin Spinner, one of my wings, Evan LeBrake, my other wing. Those are the guys they're good-sized guys. I think Devin's like 6'3", and Evan's he's 6 foot, but he goes about 200 pounds. They're bruisers. They like to put their shoulders down, and if there's a gap at all, they can usually bust through and give me 3 or 4.
All right, and my last question for you, Coach. Obviously to Larry's Nation, you got anything to say to them about this Downtown Showdown and how much you need them there and cheering loud?
Yes, I would love to see people to come out, support the children, support the team. For the most part, the people that come to the games, they support these kids, good, bad, or otherwise, and that's what I really appreciate. They never give up on them. They're supportive. I hear them. They're cheering their kids on, and that's what it's all about when you're in a small community is to basically, pick up the kids when they're down, and then also cheer them on when they're doing very well.
All right. Well, hey, Coach Truax, best of luck to you and your team, and obviously best of health, my friend. Okay.
I appreciate it. We need it. Thank you very much.